Hi, everybody. I'm Frank Stanisci of Candid Frank Live. Welcome to the Spanglish World Network on Zingo TV, channel 249 and 50. Please remember to download the Zingo TV app at the respective app stores for iOS and Android devices. While you download the app, make sure you rate and leave a comment. Both apps are absolutely free. Zingo TV is available on Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire, Fire TV sticks, Roku sticks, and also on all smart TVs 2016 forward. Now the star of the show, Aaron William Freeland. Aaron, how you doing, buddy?
Doing well. How are you, Frank?
I'm okay.
That good, huh?
I'm okay. I'm okay. And if I keep saying it, I might end up believing it.
One of
You know how
these
that
days.
works, right? You know that works, right? Well,
Hardly never.
you know what? We had a meeting today with all the coaches, and Ryan Dinwiddie couldn't make it.
Oh,
I don't know if he'll show up tomorrow. I don't know.
Hmm.
We do the general managers tomorrow, and I'll be posting it on Facebook and my YouTube page. Yeah, it's all good. You know what they say, life's fun. Life is just a bowl of cherries. So anyway, CFL news today. Got to meet new coaches and also we've got some stories that we can share. And why don't we start with Malik Carney getting signed?
we can certainly do that. They've actually signed American defensive lineman Malik Carney, the Roughies, to a contract extension. He was set to become a free agent on February 11th. You'll find as we get closer and closer to February 11th that stories of signings are going to become more and more frequent here. It's just the way that these things seem to roll. Now, he suited up for 13 regular season games for the Roughies last season. He was a disruptive force along the D line. He got 26 defensive tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 4 sacks, 1 forced fumble, and 1 pass knockdown. He played in both the Western semis and final, tallying an additional 6 defensive tackles, 1 sack, and 1 pass knockdown in the postseason. Prior to joining the Roughies back in 2024, Carney spent 3 seasons with the Hamilton Ticats. Set a career high in tackles in 2023 while adding 5 sacks, 1 interception, a forced fumble, and a knockdown. This guy he's the real deal. And I think, him bringing Saskatchewan bringing him back is a definite sign that they're looking to progress on where they were from last year.
Absolutely. The Bombers signed Willie Jefferson.
I don't think this really comes as a surprise to anyone. He's been one of the best players in franchise history for them. He's the veteran all CFL defensive end. He was scheduled to become a free agent again February 11th. He's number 8 on CFL's top 30 pending free agents list. 6'7", 248 pounds. This dude, it's going to be his 11th season in the CFL and his 6th with the Bombers. All CFL team for the 6th time in 2024. A vocal and respected leader in the locker room. I can't stress enough how important that sort of thing is. He's played 155 CFL games, including 80 with the Bombers, and has 3 Grey Cup wins. Edmonton in 2015 and Winnipeg in 2019 and 2021.
So while we were doing the interviews, Jason Moss this morning around 10:30ish was asked about McLeod Bethel Thompson, and he wasn't signed yet, but so I guess he came into the interview and he was asked about McLeod Bethel Thompson. He was very confident that they'd be able to sign him. He said, no, he wants to be here. I know he wants to be here. So we were done the interviews, and then it was news that they signed McLeod Bethel Thompson after all the coaches' interviews. They always do that. It's just terrible. Yeah, so they signed him.
Well, 3,748 passing yards and 24 touchdowns for 2nd in the league, especially with the Elks in 2024, is one of those things where it'll kind of get everybody's attention. And if not enough progress has been made with the team that originally had him, specifically Edmonton, then, Montreal's going to swoop in and take a shot. And I don't see why they wouldn't. He played with the USFL Breakers in 2023 and led them with 2,433 passing yards. In 10 games, he had 10 touchdown passes. It's not a surprise that he was back with the Elks and had a good season, a really good season. And now, hopefully, Montreal will be able to make further progress.
Absolutely. So, why don't we talk about hockey and the Montreal Canadiens? They lose 2-1 in overtime to the Stars.
Yeah, I did. It was a good game. It was a very tight, very close checking game. Dallas, as usual, wasn't giving away a lot. Um, this is, they were fighting all night basically against a team that's won 7 in a row now. So it's not really a surprise that they've done that. After a 3-2 overtime win over the Capitals on Friday, the good news is that Martin St. Louis was glad that they didn't have any passengers at this point, meaning every single player was contributing first through fourth on the forwards and first through third on the defense. They played a mature game on a back-to-back, didn't have their legs early, but made enough actions to deserve 2 points. They just unfortunately couldn't lock it in. Montreal
Yeah.
2018-4, losing for only the third time in 12 games, which is a massive improvement from them. They've managed to claw their way out of the basement, and they're now threatening for a wild card spot. So good on them.
Their numbers say that they could be in the playoffs right now.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Sens, and they had a different result against the Stars, 3-2.
Yeah, Marlies was really impressive in his home debut. One day after posting his first career shutout, Marlies made 24 saves to lead the Sens to a 3-2 win over the Dallas Stars. The Stars had originally come in riding a 7-game NHL win streak, having scored 27 goals in those 7 games. But Marlies was really impressive. Trailing 3-1, the Stars made it a 1-goal game with Dadonov scoring with 52 and a half seconds left, but were unable to get the equalizer. So, as compared to the egg that they laid in their first game back in Ottawa after a lengthy road trip because of the juniors, it was good to see them assert control. Jason Robertson for the Stars was again on fire. He opened the scoring for the Stars early in the first, but Marlies managed to nail everything down. So, despite trailing after the first, the Sens didn't waver from their game plan and managed to take the lead after the second. But Dallas, unfortunately, seemed to fade in the second and were unable to match Ottawa's energy.
Absolutely. And how about Hellebuck, a shutout? And Winnipeg beats the Avalanche in all 3 games they'll be playing this year against them.
Yeah, this is one of those things where they're having to prove themselves all over again. They came out of the gate really, really hot. They cooled off a little bit. They're now up to 12 losses, but they are up to 29 wins and 61 points. They and the Vegas Golden Knights are currently 1 and 2 in the league. Vegas, by virtue of the higher points percentage at .709, are just ahead of the Winnipeg Jets at .693. But this is his 6th shutout of the season. Dude has been on fire. Empty netter by Ehlers with 57 seconds left, salted it away for them. But Winnipeg had to change 3 of its 4 lines because of an injury to second-line center Vyacheslav Namestnikov.
Easy
There we
for
go.
you to say.
In Thursday's overtime loss to LA, Adam Lowry moved up to fill the spot on the second line.
We've got Huberdeau gets go-ahead goal early in the third period. Calgary beats the Kings 2-1. Taking medication. Don't mind me.
Hey, all good. You got to do what you got to do. Huberdeau got the tie-breaking goal early in the third period, and Dustin Wolf stopped 31 shots as the Flames beat the Kings 2-1 on Saturday. Matt Coronado had a goal and an assist for Calgary. The Flames have now won 2 straight after losing 3 of their last 4 games. Jacob Moverare scored his first of the season for LA, and David Rittich finished with 16 saves. The Kings snapped a 5-game winning streak. They'll be playing a makeup game a little later in the season to make up for the game that was lost to the Wildfires. But it wasn't good for LA. They were 28th on the power play after going 0 for 7 in the previous 3 games, and they then went 0 for 3 against the Flames. So they didn't make things any better for themselves.
Absolutely. How about Hyman and the Oilers?
Well, on the heels of him buying a hockey team, Hyman actually got the game-winning goal as the Oilers came from behind to beat the Blackhawks 4-3. He got a tie-breaking power play goal. The Edmonton Oilers, man, you cannot give them any power play opportunities. Henrique, Perry, and Podkolzin also scored for the Oilers. Chicago has lost for the 8th time in 10 games. Connor Bedard's career-high point streak was stopped at 9 games. Now, Teuvo Teravainen and Nick Foligno each chipped in a goal and an assist for the Blackhawks. They beat the Oilers 5-2 in Edmonton back on October 12th.
How about Lackinen coming to Toronto with Vancouver? They get no rest, delayed flight. And we said it before the game. This is a trap game. And that sound you hear? Clunk.
Dude, I hate it when I'm right. I really do. But a night after being shut out by the Carolina Hurricanes, the Canucks responded by shutting out the Leafs. Besser, Hughes, and Sherwood lit the lamp for Vancouver. Lankinen stopped all 20 shots he faced. This is, I think, getting to be a concern for the Maple Leafs. They are among the bottom dwellers in the league when it comes to shots on goal, and it's not something that's sustainable. For some reason, for long periods of time, their scoring just seems to disappear. And if you're going to have any success in the postseason, that sort of thing can't continue.
There has to be some consistency, but then, you just got to win 4 out of 7. So Jake McCabe, lower body injury and all, is practicing.
Yeah, he suffered an upper body injury on January 5th after falling to the ice in a fight with Garnet Hathaway. Now, he left the ice under his own power, but hasn't seen game action since. He was actually reportedly at practice and worked out with them for about 10 minutes. He exited the ice shortly before the team started the line rushes. He was placed on injured reserve retroactive to January 5th. When he suffered the upper body injury. He's eligible to return to the lineup whenever he's ready. Berube didn't provide a timeline on when McCabe could return. Prior to this, he'd missed 5 games in December after taking a puck off the ear back on November 30th. Came back into the lineup on December 12th against the Ducks. So it's, he's got a 5-year, $22.565 million contract. He's averaging about 21 minutes of ice time. They need this guy back. It can't continue.
Absolutely. Leafs' recent losses show why GM Trade Living has the Bobster roster by NHL trade deadline. What?
Yeah, Brad's got to find a way to beef up the lineup a little bit. They are at the top of the Atlantic Division. They did make some ground in getting away a little bit from the Florida Panthers, but they're now only 3 points up on them. This 2-game mini skid that they're on isn't helping. The issue that we're having here is they lost 6-3 to Carolina on Thursday and then 3-0 to Vancouver on Saturday, and they can't seem to get anything going. They're in the bottom half of the league with 28.3 shots per game. Their power play was 0 for 3 against the Canucks. They only managed 2 shots in total on all 3 power plays combined. Now, I know that Berube has them focusing on so-called low-event hockey, but this particular lineup that they have with a lot of expensive forwards and defensemen shouldn't have to scrape together quality scoring opportunities the way that they are. I mean, let's be honest. Their third pair defense pair, their third pair D of Connor Timmins and Simone Benoit were both -2 against Vancouver. Timmins in particular has been looking not as good.
Oh, he got pickpocketed,
turnstiled, like you name it. I mean, the other problem that we've got is he makes a lot of questionable decisions under pressure, and he doesn't kick in enough up front or play shutdown defense enough to justify keeping him in the lineup.
Are we talking about Justin Holl?
It could be the second coming. Not gonna lie, man.
Are we talking about Justin Holl?
The other problem that we're running into is Ryan Reeves, Pontus Holberg, and David Kampf are all where offense goes to die. Oh. I mean, Kampf is great in the defensive faceoff circle. Don't get me wrong, but there's something that's got to be done about those 3. In particular, I don't think they can be put together on a line anymore. It's just not working. Options that are available are Brandon Tanev and Yanni Gourde. Those are two veterans who could slot in. Their salaries are comparable. Now, I'm not saying I endorse that. I can understand some folks taking that position. Um, but, the way that they played against Carolina and Vancouver, um, it's not getting any easier, man. They got Dallas, New Jersey, Montreal, Tampa Bay, Columbus, Ottawa, Minnesota, Edmonton, and Calgary coming up. All of those teams are either playoff teams or playoff contenders. So
Or soon to be playoff teams.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, they've got a limited amount of time here. They've only got until March 7th to try to figure this out.
Well, they need to play well enough to keep that pad that they have, right? But at this rate, the thing is, when they drop to the pack is pretty large, and you can have 5 Atlantic teams in, not 6.
And here's the problem: if they only go 500 the rest of the way, so there's 38 games left. If they only go 500 the rest of the way, they're still looking at just under 100 points, which means they're not in the playoffs. It's getting increasingly difficult to get into the playoffs these days, and 500 hockey isn't going to cut it.
No.
So,
and it's Bettman 500 hockey.
Yeah, we're not. Yeah, Bettman 500 is completely different than real 500.
Yeah, no, it's well, Aaron, look, let's be real here. The Toronto Maple Leafs have been playing terrible hockey and winning. So no one should be surprised that eventually they're going to play terrible hockey and lose.
Oh, 100%. Like this is unsustainable.
So they're playing terrible, and now the terrible way they're playing is catching up to them. That not getting not getting scoring from the bottom 6, and worse than that, not getting it, the kind of defense they need from the top 6. I'm sorry.
So the question then becomes: is this a coaching issue or is this a player issue?
No, it's a player issue. This is a player issue, and it usually is, actually, for that matter. But the only reason the coaches get blamed is because it's the coaches that are supposed to motivate them and give them a plan to execute that they can succeed in. I just think that the Leaf defense, one thing I think we've seen over the past few months is that when a key defenseman, Tanev at one point, if you remember, and now, what we McCabe, we're now seeing what happens when they lose one of their steady defensemen. And by steady, I mean steady. Like I said things. I felt bad. I felt so guilty talking about Morgan Rielly in a way that he isn't consistent. He's not a consistent offensive player. He's not a consistent defensive player, and saying all that stuff. But it's true. The rest of the defensemen, when you have only 2 defensemen that are well, look, they've got Rielly with Myers as the number 1 line at practice today. Rielly and Myers as the top line today. Ekman Larsson and Tanev are playing, which is great. If Tanev isn't in the lineup, Benoit most of the time's good, but look who his partner is, Timmins. Yeah. So, they do need another horse on the back end, Aaron. I really think the Leafs need a horse on the back end, only because they need somebody that they need another top 4 defenseman, top 3 if they could. The top 6 defenseman doesn't work.
Yeah, and you know what? With Hakanpää and McCabe on injured reserve, and Kalle Järnkrok and Anthony Stolarz is no closer to being back than he was before. We're obviously not expecting a miracle here, where all of a sudden he's just going to bounce back. These sort of things do take time. I think they're all right going with Woll and Hildeby. It's just the Leafs have to be better in front of those kids, because they're going to get just eaten alive if they're not careful.
But Aaron, it's the offense is suffering because they don't have defenders that can move the puck up the ice quickly. McCabe did that pretty well, right? And he's not there. We underestimate how he has been I got to say, he's been probably, Tanev is only 1 year. But over the past couple of years, that sample size, McCabe has been pretty consistently a good defenseman. who, has enough physicality, and he has the ability to pass the puck up. And his defensive acumen is pretty good as well. He's above average defensively, above average in a lot of ways. Yeah, so they miss him. That's for sure. They can use Myers and Timmins, but I think they can only use them one at a time.
Yeah, and that I think is the issue. You can bring up Rafai, you can bring up Villeneuve, you can bring up some other guys from the Marlies and give them a tryout, but you still haven't necessarily found that magic bullet or the perfect pill that you need for this sort of thing, right?
Yeah, they well, you know what? Health has become an issue. The back end is very important. They've played a lot of games. This has been a big month for games, and when you're playing with a defense that has injuries on it, you're wearing out the guys that you need to play really well as well. So it's not just about how well defensemen play; it's how well the defensemen that are assets are playing under a lot of stress, a lot of duress. So, and that Vancouver game was disgusting. If you're a Leaf fan, or heck, even if you're a hockey fan, how do you not jump all over a team that has that problem? I guess traveling isn't that bad after all, Aaron. That's what I'm thinking.
I gotta say, some of the better games that I've played have been when we've pulled in late for tournaments and you have to rush to get dressed. You don't necessarily have all the time to stretch. You just got to go, go, go. So that being said, these guys are pros. They're supposed to be able to handle this sort of thing. Like I know the NHL grind is tough. It's 82 games. That's a lot of games. But at the same time, the AHL does 3 a weekend.
Yeah,
Work it out, guys. Figure it out.
it is what it is. Pick a news story, Aaron.
Well, I'm just thinking about the plans that Ford has to buy back the 407 and build a tunnel under the 401.
And when he says Ford, ladies and germs, he's referring to the provincial premier,
Doug Ford, yes. Talking about, you know, it's expensive. Don't get me wrong. It cost $8.5 billion and took like 3 years to build that little stretch in Boston where they buried it. But there's a $55 billion price tag that's attached to that sort of thing now. You're looking at the fact that they sold Highway 407, sorry, back in 1999 for pennies on the dollar. And the issue that you're running into now is the Canada Pension Plan Investment Board now owns 50.01% of the 407. Now the 407 was originally sold in 1999 for $3.1 billion. The province still owns a 22-kilometer stretch, but it's going to take about $55 billion to buy it back from the current owners, and that is just ridiculous. Never should have been let go in the first place. But the common sense revolution dictated that it needed to be sold. So thank you, conservatives, for that. We now have Doug who wants to buy it back. I'm not 100% sure where we can go with that, but man, I don't know if it's going to make anything any easier.
Yeah, I don't know either. I really don't. Well, it'll be interesting anyway. We'll see what happens, and we'll go from there, Aaron.
For sure.
Okay, DeWine, you can take over. And this is what I'm going to say. What am I going to say? I'm going to say thank you for watching Candid Frank Live. We really, really appreciate you joining us. And you know what else? The Leafs are playing. When's the next Leaf game?
Tomorrow it's 7 against Dallas.
Oh, good. Okay. So, thanks, Aaron. He's Aaron Williams, Freeland. I'm Candid Frank Stanisci. Thank you for watching Leaf Talk. Candid Frank Live Leaf Talk. Aaron Live Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 6 p.m. This show could also be heard on the Spanglish World Network on Zingo TV. We'll see you again next time.